Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Tinker O'Toole again here with another video. Today we're going to talk about splitting axes, splitting mauls. We've done it before, but I've got a few extra ones since I did the last video. And just to give you a bit of an idea, that's my little woodshed there, amongst other things. So all that timber in there, there's probably about over 22 cubic meters in those two sheds, plus there's wood everywhere. So yeah, I split all the timber, and this is only about not even a third of my collection of splitting axes, but they're the most popular ones that I use. So I tried all the good brands, and I'll go over what I've got and give you my recommendation. Now, the first one is the Stihl splitting axe from Ochsenkopf. The Ochsenkopf, German company there, that's their logo, the big ox. This one here has got a total weight with the overstrike protector of, what is it? It's got a total weight of 3.9 kilo. It'd weigh 3 kilo with the head and the overstrike protector. It is a brilliant splitting axe for medium type timber. Don't be using a heavy splitting axe on light timber. On small timber up around 4 inches diameter, I'd be using about 1.5 kilos. Don't use a really heavy splitting axe on small timber. It's the first recipe for an accident. The second one, and I fitted an overstrike protector on this, is a Husqvarna. So this is a Husqvarna. It's got a total weight of 3.1 kilos. So this is probably about 2.5 kilos, I think, head weight. And it didn't have an overstrike protector, but as you can see, it'd be too easy to damage the handle, so yeah, I fitted that on there. Okay, so that's that one. The next one is fairly popular, but it's a shorter handle, and as you can see, it's got a total weight 2.8 kilo, 70 centimeter handle, very similar to the Fiscus with this type of wedge shape. And these have got sharp edges. That is really sharp. That is almost razor sharp. That's the type of edge you got on there, about 30 degrees. And we'll talk about those beveled edges and how critical they are. A lot of people assume that the edge on a maul or a splitting axe is not as critical. This is the Fiscus X27. It's only a lightweight type splitting maul, but it's the biggest, splitting axe. It's the biggest they make. I think it's about 2.5 kg. And again, very aggressive angle of 30 degrees and a wedge angle of 25. Razor sharp, really sharp. And we'll talk about the sharpness of a splitting axe and the sharpness of a splitting maul and what relevance it is. The next one is a splitting axe. This is fairly common. You've seen these ones around. Again, it didn't have an overstrike protector. This is an Australian Cyclone 2 kg log splitter, and it's got a total weight of 2.8 kilo. It's 2.5, sorry, it's 2.5, what's it? Hang on, I've got it written down here. It's 2.8 kilograms total weight. Excuse me. So this is about 2 kg. Handle's about 800 grams. Fantastic wedge shape. This is great for medium-sized timber. Okay. That's the splitting axes. Now, before we get onto the splitting mauls, this is my little angle gauge that I made up, and I've got 15 degrees, 30, 45 and 60. 15 degrees is for axes, so we don't have any axes here, we've only got splitting axes. So a lot of my splitting axes are at 30 degrees. That's 30-degree angle, which is fantastic. It's good to have a sharp edge on a splitting axe because the sharp edge will ensure that it starts to penetrate the wood before that angle there can split the wood open. And that's what you need to do. You've got to penetrate the timber first. So the angle is critical for penetration, especially in hardwood. When we talk about softwood, it is less critical. You can split, look, you can have really broad angles and split softwood easy, but hardwood, you need narrow angles like that, 30 degrees. And these axes, splitting axes that I've showed you, only the still had the wrong angle on it, and I had to reprofile that. I wouldn't go, I like 30 degrees, but I'll probably go up to about 40 degrees on a splitting axe. But yeah, 30 degrees is my favourite angle for a splitting axe. Now we'll jump into the mauls. So when we talk about a maul has generally got broader angles, anywhere from 40 degrees up to about 60-degree angle. So that's our 45-degree angle there, and our 60-degree angle is here. Now I've brought some cheap ones and I found them to be 90 degrees. 90 degrees just won't split hardwood. Simple as that. It will, but you'll be doing more bouncing than splitting. So let's have a look at some of the mauls that I've got. I've got 4 mauls there. They're my favourites, and we'll talk about those. The first one we've got is the Still Maul from Oxenkoff. This has got a total weight of 4.6 kg, so you've got 3 kg on the head, and you've got another 200 grams or so on the collar plus the handle. So, and you'll notice that it's very narrow. Again, I had to reprofile this, and you've got the large head for striking wedges. That size is probably good for timber in 1 foot diameter and bigger. Really happy with that one. And it's got a long handle on it of 900 mil. Most of the splitting axes are around about 800 mil. The mauls tend to be a little bit longer, around the 900 mil. So all the splitting axes that I've got there are around the 800 mil in length, except for the Husqvarna, this one here, that was 700. Most people that use that always wish that it was about an extra 100 mil longer. Now, one of the most favourites around the world is the Fiscus Maul. Now this is a beautiful splitting axe, really is. There's the specs on the back, I wrote them on there. That it's got a head weight of 3.6 kilo, it's got a total head weight of 5 kilo, and it's got a head weight of 4.3 kilo. If you just put the head on the scale with the weight of the handle, it comes to 4.3 kilos. The beveled angle on here still wasn't good enough for Australian conditions. I got that down to about, just on about 40 degrees on here. So this is a beautiful splitting axe. This is for the bigger timber. One thing that I will say about these splitting axes is, or mauls I should say, is that if you're going to swing this, that's got a total weight of near 5 kilo, you're not going to be doing this for 5 or 6 hours. You're going to get tired very quickly, and that's why it's good to have a few different types, small, medium and large, for the different types of timbers. Now, one of my best and favourite splitting mauls is the Estwing. This thing is awesome. Now, look at that edge on there. When I was talking before about having, you'll hear some controversy. It says that the edge doesn't have to be sharp. That is razor sharp from the factory. Have a look at that edge. See whether you can, I'll see whether I can zoom in there and see that. That is sharp, people. There it is, you can see it now. That is 40 degrees. And it's 40 degrees. It's about 42 degrees from there to there, and the edge is 40 degrees, but you'll notice it has this nice curve in it. It's got a fairly large head for hitting. And it doesn't have an overstrike protector, but what they tend to do is bring this curve of the blade down here, so that, you know, most of the time you should be hitting in this sort of region here. So you shouldn't sort of be hitting down here. So if you hit around this region, you'll be right. No overstrike protector. This is 2.7 kg, and it is one of my favourite. This is a brand new one. I do have another one because it was on special, so I brought it on special. So a lot of the better brands, except for the Stihl Oxenkoff, all have the sharp angle on them. Now, the biggest one I've got is a cheap one. It's from China, I would say. It's 8 pound. So, it's got a total weight of 4.6 kilograms. 8 pound, I think, is 3.6 kg. So, and again, I had to reprofile the edge. So that's that one there. That's for your bigger timber, but you'll notice that the head is reduced. So the design is a lot longer. They could have had the head a little bit bigger. One thing that's, and this is where the Fiscus ISO Pro Core Maul is very popular. It's got a very large round head. Okay, so just to briefly recap, your splitting axes, I have a bit of a formula. For every 100 mil or 4 inches of width of timber, I like to have about a kilo weight. So therefore, if you were to look at a 20-inch log, I like to have about 5 kilograms total weight. And that's sort of roughly a formula that I've sort of come up with. So when I've got a splitting maul, or axe I should say, like the Cyclone, it's got a total weight of 2.8 kilo. 2.8 kilo, I can handle that for hours on end. That is really good up to timber, up to about 8 or 9 inches. A little bit hard using that in timber that's about a foot. It will do it, but you've got to put a lot more effort into it. And the Stihl here, well, that's really good up to timber, up to about a foot. And I probably use it on timber, you know, anywhere from about 6 inches up to about a foot. So there's no such thing as one splitting axe or splitting maul that suits all. So it depends on the timber that you split. You may be the sort of person that doesn't get any timber bigger than 6 inches. In that case, you probably only need 1 or 2. But certainly, what is very dangerous is using a 5 kilo maul, total weight that is, on small timber. It's about 4 inches, because if you glance off the side, it could come very close to your foot. So if you're going to use a big heavy maul, try and use timber that's at least a foot diameter, so that you can make sure that you're going to strike it and hit it every time and not glance off it and cause yourself an injury. So there's no such thing as, if you said to me, what's your favourite? All these are my favourite. So the end conclusion is, in Australian hardwood, you need your splitting axes and your splitting mauls to be reasonably sharp. Avoid the big steep angles. For a splitting axe, we're looking between 30 to 40 degrees maximum, but ideally 30 degrees. On your splitting mauls, we're looking from 40 degrees to about 60 degrees maximum, but around 40 degrees being ideal, and that is in hardwood only. When you're talking softwood, you can reduce those angles down quite a fair bit. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.